My name is Nikola Zirojević. I'm Member of Parliament of Montenegro and spokesperson of Social Democrats of Montenegro. I'm also proud member of Generation Democracy. To be honest, it seems to me that young people in the Western Balkans are rather uninformed about politics in general and consequently about political processes within individual countries, at the regional and especially at the global level. The Western Balkans has increasingly become a problem for the international community lately, and here in Montenegro such policies have become dominant since the end of August 2020. Today, unfortunately, the Western Balkans is a powder keg given the constant tension between Serbia and Kosovo. The recent terrorism attempt in Banjica, separatist messages from pro-Serbian politicians in Bosnia and Herzegovina, issues between Macedonia and Bulgaria, pro-Serbian and pro-Russian authorities in Montenegro, as well as the enormous negative influence of official Belgrade on the entire region. I'm afraid that young people in the Western Balkans are rather unaware of the danger lurking in such a situation, and that when deciding in elections, they generally overlook regional political processes and the stances of the political parties they choose in relation to these processes. As I have already mentioned, after the political changes in Montenegro in 2020, the foreign policy course of our country underwent significant changes. However, I must admit that currently in power we have several political entities that declare themselves as pro-European and pro-NATO. But in practice, it simply isn't so. In the last 3 years, Montenegro has had 3 governments. It's difficult to determine which of the previous 2 was more clerical, anti-European and more anti-NATO. The first government after the changes was agreed upon in a Serbian Orthodox monastery and was its outpost. The second government signed an agreement with that same church, placing it in a superior position compared to the state itself. Meanwhile, during this period, violence escalated in Montenegro on ethnic, national, religious and political grounds. When we talk about Montenegro's NATO status, it is entirely compromised, given that pro-Russian figures aligned with security structures in Belgrade and Moscow have been placed in top positions within the security sector. We had a sort of security scandal when the former director of the National Security Agency, now the security advisor to the president of Montenegro, disclosed the identities of CIA agents operating in Montenegro, along with the names of local operatives collaborating with them. Following this, an individual convicted of attempted murder was appointed as the General Inspector of the NSA. All of this led to a severe compromise of the security sector and restricted access to information from our NATO partners. Regarding the process of European integration in the past 3 years, this process has either been stalled or regressed. I would say intentionally so. Thanks to the constructive approach of the opposition, the new composition of the Montenegrin parliament managed to elect the 7th judge of the Constitutional Court with the necessary qualified majority, completing this institution along with the remaining 3 members of the Judicial Council. This gesture, more attributable to the opposition's constructive attitude than to the abilities of the new government, has led to positive advancements on our EU path for the first time in 3 years. I'm afraid that the current political rhetoric and the dominance of clerical, pro-Serbian-oriented political structures have a significantly negative impact on the youth in Montenegro, particularly on their pro-Western perspectives. For more than 3 years, there has been a very strong negative narrative directed towards Western values, claiming that by turning towards the West, Montenegro is losing its traditional identity. All of this is accompanied, of course, by the glorification of Serbia and Russia, advocating for Montenegro's reorientation towards the East. I don't view the Open Balkans Initiative at all in terms of the free movement of people, goods and services in the region. I consider this initiative as a softer term for the so-called Serbian world, an expansionist idea of official Belgrade that implies political and any other form of dominance of Serbia over other Western Balkan countries and potentially withdrawing borders in the region. My stance on this initiative is extremely negative, considering numerous indicators, and therefore I believe that Montenegro must remain solely committed to its European integrations and the Berlin process. The best way is precisely the one through which generation democracy operates, through continuous communication with young leaders, individuals who will likely lead Montenegro and other countries in the future, and through even more intensive programs aimed at educating young people about politics, as well as about Western values that our countries should strive for. I believe that Generation Democracy and IRI in general can make a significant contribution to pro-Western structures in the Western Balkans. Together, we can integrate the entire Western Balkans, or at least its major part, into the family of European states and under the security umbrella of the NATO alliance. This region needs it, and I am convinced that this region has individuals who, with a certain level of assistance from our international partners, can achieve that.